This is Bob Roberts with the Gilded Leaf Fine Bookbinding in Maryville, Tennessee. And I'd like to say a few words about the restoration of books. We can basically rebind anything, any century, any style, but when we're working with things that have historic or aesthetic value, we're trying to preserve as much of the original binding as we can. This is what conservationists call minimal intervention. And so I want to give you three different examples of different approaches to binding utilizing that technique. The first is a book from the late early 1900s. It's a good example of a publisher's stamped binding that was done originally in several colors. It's just a very intricate piece. It'd be very hard for us to replicate it. And it's a great sample of something that it's worth saving all the original parts for. It came in with the covers detached and the spine dangling. And in this case, what we wanted to do was, again, save as much of the original as we could. So we lifted up the cloth from the sides, we ran new material all the way around to the other side, and then put the spine back over the top. And what we've ended up with is a repair job where the only visible restoration is right inside these joints here, and then a little bit at the head and the tail of the spine. And I don't know if the camera will even pick this up very well, but the goal is to make the repairs fairly invisible. Now, another problem that often arises is when we've got material that's just too damaged to save at all. A big chunk missing from a spine, for example. And this is a case of a book from the 1500s where really that's exactly what was wrong. The spine was broken, and the joints, of course, were broken as well. And so here we've got corners that are in original and in good shape, but we wanted to put leather back on that matched as closely as we could the original. So even to the tooling of this little triple line right along the border here, we have worked new leather on over the spine. And then on the inside, and I'm quite sure the camera won't pick this up, but we've got new paper that runs underneath the paste down here and the flyleaf here, and it's visible, if you know what you're looking for, right along the inside of this edge right here. So this would be an example then of needing to replace certain structural parts of the binding, but saving the original flavor and the original feel, and as much as we could of the original. Now, a third example is where we've got a completely new binding on an old book, and this book is from the 1400s. It came in with a 19th century binding in pretty rough shape. It had a leather spine and German paste paper sides, and in this case the decision was made to rebind in a 15th century style binding that would be appropriate for the book. There was a lot of work on the inside that needed to be done as far as page repair, and then re-sewing on double cords, and then the binding itself has been blind tooled without any gold, and even little details like the way that the boards here are beveled inwards. And all of this then would suggest to a collector or a historian that this is an appropriate binding for a book from the 1400s. So three completely different approaches to restoring an old book, all with minimal intervention in mind, and all with an eye towards preserving the original feel and character of the book.